All right, y'all, back to work. Weekend is behind us. We have some money to make this holiday shortened week, don't we? Now, tomorrow is a federal holiday, Veterans Day tomorrow, but the markets are open, I think, all day tomorrow. And I'll tell you, after that big move higher we saw today, that continuation of that blow-off bottom we saw last Friday afternoon, I can imagine everyone is trying to buy the dip. Everyone's trying to buy pullbacks tomorrow and Wednesday, right? Now, buying pullbacks, you know this already, right? They sound so easy, don't they? Just buy the dip, just buy the pullback. But if you have any experience in trading, you know, picking that perfect pullback, it's not as easy as it sounds, right? But the good news is this: I have two key levels and two different entry setups, entry tactics I'm tracking for tomorrow. I'm going to cover those in tonight's video. That way you have a game plan. You know where that perfect pullback will be tomorrow on the holiday, maybe Wednesday. We come back after Veterans Day. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. I'm going to dive into this, give you guys the entire roadmap. Let's make some money here tomorrow and Wednesday as well. Charts are ready tonight. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. Nasdaq triple Qs are ready. I've got 4 clues on these charts telling me where I think the money is made tomorrow. The first clue is right here on the hourly time frame. I like to use the hourly chart as an overall directional filter, and it's pretty clear right now. You know, look at the range we saw on Thursday afternoon, right? Thursday afternoon, that trading range in the S&P, same thing there on the Nasdaq. And look what happened on Friday. They had that strong run down and that what really felt like a blow-off bottom as it just ripped off of that low. And we know the way ranges work, right? We call these slingshot reversals in our trade room. The amount below, the amount above. So really right now, this hourly time frame tells me really 2 important things right now. One, the buyers appear to be back in business once again after what felt like just a healthy correction as sentiment took a hit with the AI stuff last week. So buyers are very much getting separation off of that moving average. Nice strong reaction off that 21 EMA. Something we didn't see all week last week. So feels like these buyers are back in control right now. Most importantly though, the pendulum swing level, 73 and a quarter here on the S&P, all the way up around 893 and a quarter there, or half there on the Nasdaq. It looks like we got some more space to go here on the S&P and the Nasdaq. So one very big clue right now on the highest time frame is we're back to bullish right now and some more space to go up overhead here. My next clue is down on some tick charts. We'll grab those in a second, but don't forget tomorrow is Veterans Day. So make sure you find your favorite veteran and thank them for their service or sacrifice. So no major news for us to worry about on Tuesday, but keep in mind though, there's rumors going around right now, the government shutdown's coming to an end. So that means that we might get some big data points later on in the week this week. Will we get CPI on Thursday? I'm hearing rumors. If they get the government reopened by Wednesday, we might have non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday this week. So again, no major news tomorrow, but it's starting to look like that government shutdown might be coming to an end. If that happens, we might finally get some catalysts, some big news events. We might get those later on in the week this week. So more to come on that, but let's now dive into our tick charts right now. The time chart, the hourly chart's good for direction. There's a few more important clues though here right now on the tick charts. And by the way, if you're watching for the first time right now, that is a 7,000 tick chart. All the time frames, upper left-hand corner, and that moving average right there, it's a 21 EMA. We don't need anything more than that. Don't overcomplicate it. Now, there's 3 clues here, and that will really give us the game plan to pick that perfect pullback tomorrow. First clue here right now is a big move. That was a pretty big move. Like I said earlier, it felt like a blow-off bottom off of that low. And let's look at how big that thing was, right? Kept going, gapped up. Monday morning, we're way high up right now. Now, anytime I see a big move like this, I always think about a 2-legged pullback and a retest of the high. So big move, 2-legged pullback, buy the dip, and a retest of the high. That's one big clue. We'll talk about how to buy that dip. We'll cover that in a moment. But arguably, there's more important clues here right now. For example, that's a range right there. Now, what happens when ranges break out? When ranges break out, they like to break out pullback. You'll notice I have two breakout pullback zones. One is at 35, the other is down below at 22. I said earlier, I have two key levels and two different setups for each of those levels. We'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. The final clue here is this range right there. Now, what do ranges do? Well, ranges like to rotate, right? So the amount above, the amount below, they rotate back and forth, and we use things like symmetry, the amount above, the amount below. We use things like triangles or megaphones, expanding triangles, whatever you want to call them. Ranges love to rotate. So if you understand right now that we're bullish overall on the higher time frame, you know we got that big move going higher here right now. I'd like to buy a nice steep pullback and a couple key levels waiting for me underneath with this range right here just begging to rotate off of that low, roughly the amount below, up around that high here. It's quite easy to see, I think, why I like the idea. If we see a relatively shallow pullback, can we all agree I'm buying relatively high at that point? Big move higher, I want a deeper pullback. So because I'm buying relatively high in that situation, there's one specific type of entry pattern we look for in these environments, and that will be a technical bear trap like I teach in the free video series. The most important thing though is, on a shallow pullback, I want to be buying underneath prior swings. This is the magic entry technique whenever I see a big move up, but I only get a one-legged pullback. After a big move like this, I'm buying underneath prior swings. If you're in my free video classes right now, this is a technical bear trap, a two-try technical bear trap. Then we know now where the market wants to go, right? It wants to rotate higher. That will then give us our target on the opposite side of that trading range, right? Pretty simple idea there. Buying below prior swings. Now, my favorite trade for tomorrow, you can see this channel coming up here off those highs, off those lows. That lines up right around that sweet spot for that breakout pullback. This is the one I hope we get. Hopefully we see the bottom get pulled out from underneath this thing right now. And once it starts to feel like a reversal, right? Once it begins to feel like the bears are in control right now, remember, big move higher, two-legged pullback. Now on this one, I can be a lot more aggressive on this one. I'm going to still wait for the bears to try once, still wait to try twice. Why twice? Because now when the bears are trapped in, now I know where their stops are, right? Now I know where sellers become buyers, right? Think about that. If you're caught short chasing that thing lower right now and you get stopped out, you're in pain, right? You're in pain. You're buying your way out of that position. Now, look for the bear trap and then add to your winner. To add to your winner, it's very easy. Look for a shallow pullback that will separate off the moving average, higher high in price, and my goal is to get in right below that low. Now, we know already that a deep pullback like this and a retest of that high, that's our big objective, right? So it'd be a two-try bear trap, and we're adding more on below that swing, and the targeting is go back up, take out that high. And I will definitely have a runner on that too, because that big level we saw earlier on the hourly at 73 and a quarter. I love that type of trade for tomorrow. Now I got a couple more I want to cover with you guys. Before we go further though, let's slow down for 2 seconds, because if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy for you. I know most folks watching right now, you guys know these patterns. You're making money already with these. But if you're tuning in for the first time right now, again, this could be a brand new language I'm speaking right now. Don't you worry though. I teach this entire roadmap in my free trading course. In fact, I have a ton of examples of two-legged pullbacks, bear traps add-on. Guys, the markets, they're way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. So what I'll do is I'll put a link up top there for you. Hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells us exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, let's face it, we make our money by timing good entries, don't we? So I'm going to teach you in that free video course my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, get your confidence back, get your P&L back in the green again. Guys, bottom line, if you're still missing the best entries right now, if you're missing the biggest moves each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current strategy, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free trading course. Everyone loves all the trade examples I include in that short video series. The best part is it's completely free for you. Also be aware too, guys, I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn this roadmap down below tonight's video. Link in the description of the video tonight. Start first on that free video course. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video series. So start there first. Get your confidence back, get your P&L back in the green again. And don't forget too, guys, I post charts and videos and mindset stuff on my X feed, my Twitter feed, in between these YouTube videos. If you're on Twitter X, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more, are below tonight's video. And again, start first on that free video course. You're going to love that one, all the trade examples I include on the website. Now, where did we leave off? Okay, I mentioned earlier a shallow pullback, a very specific type of entry on a shallow pullback, a deeper pullback. Trap those bears in. Don't pick the bottom, right? Don't be picking bottoms on that. A lot of times they keep going lower, right? I don't know how far it will go sometimes. Oftentimes it goes even further. And then we see a bear trap down there, right? So I'm not sure exactly where, but I got that 22 level on my radar. Now here's a question for you though. What if we don't get a bear trap down there? What if we simply don't get a bear trap? What if this thing runs lower and it just kind of whoop and runs right back up again? If all we see is a V bottom off of that low, I'm going to make a very small but important adjustment. If it V bottoms up off that low, all I'm gonna do now is find a new channel. Mark off the highs, bring it down around that low. The most important thing is I wanna get in underneath a prior swing. The hardest part about this variation of picking that perfect pullback is that if we don't get that bear trap down here, I'm gonna warn you right now, that voice in your head is going to encourage you to chase after it. What happens is when it V bottoms off that low and you're frustrated, right? Because you're not getting the entry down here, it begins to grind and grind. And again, this is very difficult on the emotions, right? At least for me it is. The FOMO on this is always real, right? So we don't want to chase after it because what happens is we want to buy low. We don't want to buy high. If we chase after, we're buying high now. We put ourselves in a bad risk reward position. So what I'll do is I'm going to mark a trend line off the highs, bring it down off that low, and again, find those prior swings. And where the money is made, it's pretty much always that first test. We always say first test is the best test off low of that channel. It's the first touch of low of that channel, and really, and again, underneath a prior swing, that is where the money is made in these V-bottom scenarios. And really, guys, this could be any of the entry patterns, the entry triggers you guys are learning inside the free video series. It could be a bear trap, a pullback combination, a strength move going higher. Again, if that's new terminology for you, it's all good. Take that free class I mentioned earlier, the link's below the video, the description of the video tonight, and this will all make a lot more sense here, the terminology, to quote a lot more examples there on the website. The final thing I would say right now, and then we'll talk about going higher here in a moment here on the Nasdaq, the final thing would be, every once in a while, we see a really sharp pullback. We see a beautiful two-try bear trap. Now again, tomorrow's a holiday session, right? So we might see a bit less volume than normal tomorrow, a bit more volatility than we normally see here. But oftentimes what happens though is we'll get that nice deep pullback. We'll get that bear trap down here. But every once in a while, the underbelly of that range overhead, because again, there's a range right there. What do range breakouts do? they love to break out pullback, right? So I will use the underbelly of that range as a target on my bear trap. It'll be an easy target for us going higher there. But just be aware though, oftentimes though, we do see they will hold that bear trap, hold that bull trap, I should say, with a breakout pullback and go back to retest that low. Now, this is where the higher time frame comes in handy. Like I said earlier, it definitely feels like these buyers are back in control, at least until we get some more information up around those key highs we saw earlier, around 73 and a quarter. And we'll grab the Nasdaq as well here in a moment. So until we go a bit higher here right now, where we expect to see more bears entering the market here for this week, I would imagine a retest of that low. We run down, we pop up, we retest that low. Guys, anybody who sells that breakout pullback, where's their profit targets? At that low, right? They're selling up here and they're buying it back down here. So what do you think? Is this a good place to sell down there? Probably not, right? You're selling low, overall bull market, not a good spot to be selling. So that means it's a great spot now for a bear trap. Now, again, I'm not going to pick a bottom on this. I'm going to wait for price to retest that low right there. And then once we start pulling back to the moving average, bears once, bears twice, it's that two-try bear trap we love so much. And remember, on a retest trade, above all else, on a retest trade, these retest trades, they love to rip off of these lows here. So we want to add to your winner, right? Add to your winner. To do that, again, it's always going to be that shallow pullback, that higher high in price, get above that high, just like, or higher high in price, below that low, and we're adding more from there. So, we saw one of these last Friday morning, right? They ran lower, they popped up, they retested. So a lot of you guys made some bank on that retest trade last Friday morning. It is the same exact trade we talked about end of last week, and a lot of you guys got paid on that retest as well. So retest bear trap, adding more here, back to retest the high, leave a runner. Love, love, love that scenario for tomorrow. Only question is, it's a holiday session. We may have to wait for something like that until Wednesday, but we'll see how we do for volume on Veterans Day tomorrow. How about some Nasdaq right now, though? NQ's getting a bit lonely over here right now. On the Nasdaq, you'll notice right away here that range we saw here. Again, that was Thursday afternoon, right? Thursday night. And of course, all that sentiment, that sour sentiment, the government shutdown was lingering, ran lower, and man, oh man, that definitely felt like a blow-off bottom. The bottom line is that range rotation is going to want to rotate, right? It's going to rotate all the way back up again. So it does look like the Nasdaq, at least right now, has quite a bit of open space above it, at least until we take out that 822, and I would think the 893 half level up overhead here. But it does look like, though, this open space here above us, and buyers are, look at the separation, right? Gapping up, separation off that moving average. Like I said, it feels like that was a blow-off bottom last Friday afternoon. Feels like buyers are back in business at this point in the game. Now, I want to dive into the tick charts here and talk about a few more of my game plan for tomorrow, though. Before we dive into tick charts, though, I want to share something with you I've been working on the entire year this year. We all know that AI is the technology of the future, don't we? And I recently built an AI tool that gives me an advantage over every other trader on the planet. I use this AI tool in my trading, as a trading journal, in my personal life, and I'm completely addicted to it. So if you're like me, looking for ways to make more money in trading by leveraging the power of AI right now, I will drop a special link down below tonight's video, or just scan that QR code that popped up there with your iPhone and try my new AI productivity tool, my AI voice journal I call VoiceTap. I'm going to warn you though for a second. This is addictive. It's very fun to use. Once you start using it, it will be difficult to ever want to go back to writing things down in a physical journal ever again. I love it. I use it every day, all day my trading. Use that link I drop below or scan that QR code for a free download. Give it a test drive on the App Store and let me know what you think. Now, let's dive in and talk Nasdaq, getting ready for, again, kind of a holiday trading session tomorrow. Now, on the Nasdaq right now, you'll notice first big clue. It is a big clue. It's a big move higher right now. That monster rotation off of that low. Huge move up, right? Big move up right now. So we need to get a relatively deep pullback right now. A two-legged pullback will be ideal to attract in more buyers. What else do we see right now? A little bit different than the S&P. There's a range right there. We ran up into a range and now we're rotating off the low of that range, the amount below, the amount above, and boy, does that line up beautifully with that 822.25 level we saw earlier on the hourly time frame. I also mentioned too here, also you see too here is that range right there. I can take that amount above right now, project that below, and that does line up nicely there with that channel, right, coming up here off those highs right now. So, like I said earlier on the S&P here, on a shallow pullback, I'm looking for one specific type of entry, right? Remember, it's buying below prior swings. So on a shallow pullback right now, it's buying below prior swings. My favorite trade right now would be getting in below that 452 level. Nice, deep, two-legged pullback. Think about a measured move that goes a bit too far. And again, you can always tell when it's time to start buying when it feels very bearish, right? That was one thing my mentor would always say, Joe, once that kind of anxiousness in your stomach, right? Once you go, that feels like a reversal, that's usually when it's time to start thinking about being a buyer, right? Because a lot of what successful trading is doing kind of the opposite of our instincts, right? So once that instinct kicks in and says, that feels like a reversal, it'll usually be a two-legged pullback. And again, I would love to get just below that 52 level. Anywhere down below 52, all sounds good to me. But again now, right, we may keep going. This thing may go all the way back to that gap and then bounce up, right? I don't know how far that pullback will be. I don't have a crystal ball. All I can do is play the odds, right? So as it pulls back here, bears once, bears twice, that same two-try bear trap. And again, we know where the market wants to go, right? It wants to take out that high. It wants to take out that 22.25 level off the hourly time frame. So we know where it wants to go now. So now we look for that separation off the moving average. I always do this. I always take a quick one-to-one target, right? Get rid of risk, get some reward, right? Get some green on the screen, move a stop at point of entry, and then try to add that half off right back on again on this entry pattern. There's a lot of examples of this, by the way, inside the free trading course, right? Again, it's a two-try bear trap, like I teach in the video class, and of course the add-on trade, right? Separation, higher high, and the add-on right there. Love, love, love that. And we talked about the V-bottom, right? We talked about if it runs lower and pops up and grinds going higher. We talked about the V-bottom on that already, so we know how that will play out. Just give me the entry below a prior swing. First test is the best test. Now, here's a question for you, right? What if we keep going higher here, right? What if we keep going higher here right now? Well, what do ranges do, right? This range right here, if we were to break out, right? We're to break out right now, I then begin to look for what is ultimately here a breakout pullback off that trading range. There's two scenarios right now I want you to kind of keep in mind though here if we go higher. One scenario will be we break out and then again, we're still very high up right now, so it needs to be a two-legged pullback. So bears once, bears twice. I'm going to use that range now for a breakout pullback, right? So one way to trade a breakout pullback is simply a two-legged pullback. We'll see it next nice strong run going higher, one leg, two leg. And again, I'm keeping it simple right now. You'll learn these entry tactics in that free video class. Hopefully you've grabbed that link by now. Bears once, bears twice. It's that two-try bear trap. It's that add-on with that higher high in price. And now one cool thing about a breakout is that anytime we see a breakout, the breakout leg becomes a measuring leg, right? So at that point, the breakout leg is a measuring leg. Once we know how big the breakout leg is and we see how deep that pullback is, then we can use that for our measured move. The bottom line, though, is we know the market always wants to go back and touch what? It wants to touch that retest of that high. So at the bare minimum, it's a two-legged pullback, it's a bear trap, it's an add-on, and a retest target at that high. I will be looking for, though, a measured move up here. We'll wait and see if we can get that tomorrow at some point, the trade room. The final scenario, though, you'll remember here, if we do wind up going higher, again, we get some more space overhead here on the hourly time frame. The one final thing you want to remember is that tomorrow's a holiday, right? We get a lot of news later on in the week here, it looks like this week. If we end up in a range up here, okay, what's going to happen? Well, that range wants to what? That range wants to rotate, right? It wants to rotate like this one, right? It wants to go below, above, right now. What does the previous range want to do? The previous range wants to be a breakout pullback, doesn't it? So, we always say this in these videos. If it pops up into a new trading range, this is the easy one, right? This is the easy one because now I can use that previous range for a breakout pullback, which means obviously I can wait for a pullback, wait for a breakout lower. Again, this will feel very bearish. It'll feel very convincing. But all we do is wait for a pullback, right? Wait for a pullback. Remember, the key is the higher high, right? The higher high. The key is the higher high. We saw it here, right? Running lower, right? Bears once, bears twice. That higher high, right? The higher high, that's the key for the entry off of that low. Once we get the higher high, we can then trade the reversal going higher here again. And again, we know now how this works, right? It's a range rotation off the low, off that high. That creates that target now overhead. And it's always going to be that two-try bear trap. It's always going to be that add-on with separation. And we're trading that rotation. So now again, tomorrow's a holiday, right? So we might get one of these, we might get two of them. I don't know. What I know is this is the sequence, this is the formula I'll be working tomorrow morning in our trade room. And the final thing here is don't forget that knife cuts both ways, right? That rotation knife, it cuts both ways, doesn't it? So if we do want to go in higher here, if we run higher and then get whacked back down again, we can remember it's not a reversal. Well, it is a reversal, but it's a range rotation, right? It's a range rotation, okay? Now, here's a common question. How would I sell this off the high? Well, it has to be a crown reversal pattern, right? So anytime I sell in a bull market, and that goes for the pullback here on both these markets right now, anytime I'm selling in a bull market like this, it needs to be this pattern. It needs to be that lower low in price, above that high, and a strong red candle running lower. We call these crown reversal patterns. They're very, very simple. It's just buyers once, buyers twice, strong red candle below that 21 EMA. That's how I sell it during a pullback pattern, right? Or during a pullback at all, right? Could be right here for all I care about. Now, the most important thing is we go above, we go below. That's our profit target now on that short. And then we simply trap the bears once, twice. Now, I can be a lot more aggressive on that trade, right? I can be a lot more aggressive on that two-try bear trap because we're overall bullish and that range wants to rotate. Got to be a little bit more cautious and very selective on that short off the high. But that's how I want to short this thing. If we go up and then pull back, watch that range rotation. Whatever you do, don't confuse that range rotation for a full-blown reversal, right? It's just a range rotation. A lot of examples of those inside the free video series. So make sure you check that link out, linked up below the video tonight, description of that YouTube video. All right, guys, that's the game plan for tomorrow. How much will we get tomorrow on Veterans Day? Wishing you a very happy Veterans Day. But don't forget, though, a place to be every day, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Guys, the easiest way, start making repeatable, consistent, Confident Profits is to learn and trade along with me every morning at the opening bell. As always, I'll put all the important links you need to get started below the video, the description of the YouTube video. Start first, of course, on the free video course. You're going to love all those trade examples. Then come join us in the morning trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we'll do it together each day. In the meantime, guys, have a fantastic holiday tomorrow. Be well, be nice to each other, will ya? And you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.